are
What's
you today?
up? Doing good.
Good. So I had to come here today so we could talk about relationships. And my first question for you is, how do you even have an authentic relationship with friends, people?
Yeah, I think an authentic relationship, it comes with, obviously with time, with trust, but also vulnerability. I think we need to be vulnerable. I think we need to be open. And when we get to that place, when I know you, you know me, I think that's whenever we hit this point of like, okay, I trust you fully. I'm open. I'm vulnerable. You're in the end. You know the deepest parts of me, and I think when we get to that place, it's good. And what's hard is that I see it more and more, and I don't know if it's just like, I don't know if it's just with COVID stuff or I almost kind of feel like even before COVID, it was a big deal of like people were becoming less and less vulnerable with each other.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes that can also be like just one of those things of like, if I'm vulnerable to you and you see my flaws, if you haven't had as many mistakes as I've had, that means you're better than me, and you can't know that, because then that puts, I feel like sometimes people, I know that I've fallen into that of like, man, I've messed up so many times, even as a pastor or, even as just a friend or whatever. If this person knows how much I've messed up, maybe they didn't mess up as much as I did, that might lose some respect for me, or that might, they might feel like they have the one up on me, or, it's
Right.
It's a silly mindset, but it's a real mindset nonetheless,
It is. Because then if they ask you to do something and you say no, it's like, are they going to take offense?
Yeah.
Because, you're saying no to them, but they don't necessarily know, because you haven't been real, that you're actually going through some stuff. And the no is actually the best yes that you could send right then, because they don't know that you're in an unhealthy place. Maybe you're battling depression and you're just working through some things, and you're in this dark place. And though you may want to be where they're at and go to the dinner, the party, whatever they asked you to do, you just know that if you were to go, you're not going to bring your A game. You're going to be miserable. You're going to have the bad attitude. And it's like, ultimately, you should have said no, and that would have been the best answer.
Yeah, no, for sure. I agree with that. I think that is a huge thing, is a lot of times in our relationships, you can really tell how great of a relationship you have with somebody when you can trust them with your no. I think that goes, that's in life in general, not just in the church, but also just in everyday living. If I can't trust you with my no, then that's an issue to me. Like, in my opinion, I know it's not fact, but to me, in my opinion, my relationships that I've had in the past with, just in any relationship, but just mostly with friends, coworkers, bosses, or being the oversight over somebody, just being able to be trusted with a no, or trusting someone with your no. In my years of just doing ministry, I've always had like volunteers here and there, or just, just people that just would not trust me with their no. They would rather go and just ruin a family night or time away from, from church to be with their friends or family or birthdays, or just so they can say, yeah, no, but I'm still here. And I don't know if it's maybe just some of it was tied into like, maybe this is mindset of like in the church of, man, I always have to be at church, otherwise God doesn't love me as much, or
That's
whatever.
So true.
Yeah, those deep seated thoughts, or whatever's going on. But I think also it also is with me. Like, if you can't tell me no, I think some of the great like people I had around me, like as friends, it's people in my past and even now, are people that trust me with their no. They're so quick to just say, hey man, like I can't be there. Hey, I can't make it. They don't give me this hour and a half long explanation. They just simply say, hey, yeah, man, I know it's your birthday, like dinner, I can't be there. Hey, I know that this is going on. It's a big deal to you. I'm so sorry I can't make it. And sometimes it hurts, but I know that they don't, it's coming from a great place. I understand if they're going to say no, it's for a good reason. But man, there's just other people that they will, man, like it, to have found some of these stories out later, it's like, dude, why did you do that? Like, why didn't you just say no and stay home, or go to that thing instead of coming to this thing, I do feel like the no is definitely a huge factor when it comes to me of like, that's healthy. Like we're in a healthy relationship. We have, we're just healthy people,
I think no is just such a taboo word. Like we should say yes. You should be involved in everything. Anything they're asking, yes, especially if it's coming from the church, right? You're like, then it must be divine. God has me doing that.
Yeah.
What do you do with the friends that just keep telling you no, though? Do you pull them back in at some point? Like, hey, I've invited you to dinner. I've invited you to this. Like they trust you enough to give you the no, but when do we step back in, because we have this authentic relationship, when do we step back in and say, okay, you've given me a few no's. I know why you've said no here and here, but come back to church, come have dinner with me. What do you say to those people?
Honestly, in my, just my past, I've always just okay, I noticed you're just kind of checked out. What's wrong? Because to me, it's like, if you're disconnecting from me, then what's going on? If you're disconnecting from the church, okay, I noticed, what's the common denominator here? What are you saying no to? What are you disconnecting from? And those times it's always been like, hey bro, I'm gonna lovingly call you out on this. Like, what's going on, man? Like, you're disconnecting from me. Every time I text you, you don't answer. You'll answer 2 or 3 days later. Like, what's going on? Like, and if it is really like we have like a conflict, let's sit down and talk about this. And if it's just something we can't handle, then let's find somebody else that's going to help us with this problem. Or maybe we need to shake hands and hug and part, and go our separate ways, But like with those things, you have, again, you have to have those healthy conflicts, if there is a disconnection, obviously. Like I've had friends that they just couldn't tell me, or they didn't trust me. So it's like, maybe if I just get away and just, if I get far enough away, he'll leave me alone. And it's like, man, I'm sorry. There's other people that can do that. I just don't have the heart for that. I love to love people. Anybody that knows me will know, sometimes when you love too much, it's kind of annoying. And I'm sorry if I'm that way, but
we need more of that.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. But that's how I am. So I don't there's times that I will just realize, oh my God, I haven't connected with this person in a couple of weeks. And I'll go back and call or text, hey bro, I've been thinking about you. What's going on? How are we? What's happening? And it's super cool, especially right now in my time of life. I have a lot of friends that just understand that. Oh, you're busy, I'm busy. Let's reconnect, and we can do a lunch, and then from there it's we'll talk occasionally. But just kind of going back to it. I think those people that just want to disconnect, it really is you have to confront that. And I feel like sometimes we can feel this oh, they disconnected. Well, it's on them. They disconnected, so they did wrong. If in the church, if a volunteer stops showing up, or if this musician on the worship team stops showing up, well, that's on them. They're declining. They're not. And it's man, we need to reverse that mindset and say, you know what? No, I'm gonna chase you for a little bit, and I want to find out what's going on, because then that's where further hurt can continue, especially if we are who we say we are. Being a lover of people, if I'm not chasing after you a little bit, just saying, hey, what's going on, trying to help you, the ball's kind of in my court, of oh, maybe Homer isn't who he says he is. And it's no, I want to know what's going on with you, so.
How do we have an authentic relationship in today's world when we are battling Zoom calls and, hey, you can get therapy and counseling through screen time, which is not bad. And there are some people that need that, but how do you develop a true authentic relationship when you're,
Yeah, what's crazy is I'm very old school. So it's people, some of my friends hate it. They really, hate's a strong word, but they hate it. I'm more of a phone call, in-person kind of person.
Oh, I'm a text girl.
See, I'm terrible with text. So I have dyslexia. So whenever I text, sometimes what I mean to say just doesn't come out very great. Or I'll say the wrong word. So thank God the iPhone now has you could just, tap the little microphone and you could just say it and it comes out. But even with that, you have to read it to make sure that it didn't pick up something else or create another word for you. But yeah, I'm very old school. I prefer just a phone call or an in-person, let's hang out. I mean, I'm a chubby kid, so I love to eat. So it's like, man, let's go. People are like, man, like that is one thing that's funny is like a lot of people here in Amarillo are like, hey, let's go get coffee. And I'm like, dude, I can care less about coffee.
Let's get a meal.
Let's get a burger. Let's get, some fries. Let's get a pizza. Let's get something, because I feel like for me, coffee, it's like, okay, I'm done with it. Let's leave. But if it's a meal, it's like we got to wait for it to get cooked. We're talking.
A chance to talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because then sometimes you kind of run out of things when you're drinking your coffee, and it's like, all right, this is getting awkward.
Let's keep going.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being authentic with me today. I appreciate your friendship and just getting to know the real you, but to also know that when you say no, I can trust your no.
Definitely.